On April 14th, 2023, four families on three coasts opened their mailboxes to find glossy postcards of their own houses, except each image showed something that did not exist yet. The first card shows up in a quiet cul-de-sac in Maple Grove, Minnesota, stamped in Newark and printed with an anodyne, "Greetings from the future," font that feels like a prank until the image resolves. Emma and Raj's blue split level, but with their ash tree gone, replaced by a raw dirt circle and a bright orange permit stake that doesn't exist yet. The postmark reads April 11th, 2023, but the ash tree is still standing that morning, its roots threading under the cracked sidewalk like an arthritic hand. "Someone's messing with us," Raj says, but he runs a thumb over the postcard's glossy clouds, noticing how perfect the sky is, like it was pasted from a catalog. In Santa Rosa, California, a second postcard lands on the kitchen island of the Alvarez family, its photograph capturing their green craftsman, but with solar panels they haven't installed and a sagging fence they just replaced in February. "This is last year's fence," Luce murmurs, tracing the bent picket with a nail like it's a scar returning. The reverse is blank except for a typed line. "Check the attic vent, Tuesday." No signature, no smear of ink to humanize it, only a printed sameness to the sky that makes the whole thing feel manufactured, almost corporate. 2 states east, in Athens, Ohio, grad student Marcus Dunn flips over a third card featuring his rental duplex. But in the image, the porch has a package locker bolted to the rail, a yellow courier sticker half torn. He doesn't own that locker. He doesn't even get enough deliveries to justify one. "Somebody scraped Google Maps," he tells his sister on the phone. But Street View shows the house with a different porch light and a cracked gutter, not the pristine fascia in the card. "Weird," she says, and texts a link about old postcards with identical skies, a trick from mid-century printers who swapped in the stock cloudscapes to punch up dull photos. He saves the link but doesn't open it. And in Hingham, Massachusetts, the Whitcombs, two teens, one golden retriever, one retired teacher, prop their card on the mantle because it's kind of flattering, until Dad notices that their house number in the image has changed from 27 to 29. A city renumbering, a glitch, or a future when the town reparcels the street. At dinner, Mom jokes about the French futurist postcards she saw online, where people in 1900 imagined whale buses and air taxis. Everyone laughs, but the joke doesn't quite land, because this postcard isn't a fantasy. It's their exact house, with a mailbox they don't own, and a thin, unfamiliar shadow at the bay window, like a person who forgot to duck. Inciting incident. A week later, Emma and Raj's ash tree is marked by the city for sudden removal. Emerald ash borer confirmed, orange permit stake planted exactly where the card showed it. The future, it seems, is running on schedule, and someone else has the calendar. Emma makes a police report. "Unwanted contact by mail," the dispatcher says. Apologetic, advising to keep the envelope. Only there is no envelope, just a barcode strip and a pre-sort stamp, like a mass mail advertisement that knows exactly which house to print. "Could this be that thing like the identical postcard skies?" Raj asks later. The link finally open. A collector noticed that many 20th century postcards reuse the same clouds, meticulously masked around telephone poles and roofs. A manufactured perfection that most buyers never saw, until someone put them side by side. It's technically comforting, the idea of artifice, but it doesn't explain how a future stake appeared a week before the city arborist. On April 18th, the Alvarez family's Tuesday arrives. Luce climbs a ladder to the attic vent and finds a bird's nest jammed with shredded mailers and a foil gum wrapper reflecting light like a beacon. Inside is a half-charred extension cord stapled to the rafters by the previous owner. The nest is warm. The cord's insulation has a bite mark. That would have cooked the whole gable by July, the electrician says, coiling the hazard away. Luce does not sleep that night. She keeps the postcard on the nightstand, face down, as if it might crawl away. Marcus, the grad student, treats his card like a puzzle. He photographs his porch from the same angle as the postcard, overlays them, and notices micro-changes. The future image shows a faded yard sign for a school levy that hasn't gone to ballot yet, and a sticker from a local courier pilot promising secure porch lockers, July rollout. He emails the company. A harried ops manager replies, pilot starts July 1st in 3 Ohio towns, Athens included. Who told you? Marcus stares at the date. The card was postmarked April 12th. The Whitcomb's teens create a Reddit post. Weird postcard of our house, but future? The thread fills with theories. Old MLS photos, drone pranks, a neighbor with a telephoto lens, even references to vintage visions of the year 2000. Postcards that got some things right and others hilariously wrong. One user links a BBC feature on abandoned places and says, maybe your street's next, which gets downvoted into oblivion. But the seed is planted. How fragile the built world is. How easily it's all reclaimed if neglected. That night, Dad wakes from a dream of the bay window, shadow stepping over the sill. The second tension peak arrives when 4 more households, none of them related, report similar cards to a local journalist who starts mapping the addresses. Minnesota, California, Ohio, Massachusetts. No obvious connection, but the mail vendor imprint on each card is identical, a New York area print run that could be routed anywhere. The journalist's editor refuses to publish a full piece without harder facts, but agrees to a column. Identical skies, she writes, once hid the artifice in our postcards. Today the artifice has shifted. The sky is still suspiciously perfect, but the truth is hiding in plain sight. The future is being mailed to us in advance, and we aren't sure whether to be grateful or afraid. Real-world record checks add gravel to the gears. Emma files a public records request. The city confirms the ash borer assessment date as April 17th and the crew assignment as April 24th. The orange steak was logged into inventory on April 16th, hours after her postcard arrived. In Athens, Marcus pulls campaign filings showing the school levy committee reserved the yes on issue 12 yard signs with a printer on May 2nd. The sign in his postcard is sun-faded like July. In Hingham, the town clerk emails a terse PDF. A proposed renumbering and parcel split is on the select board agenda for May 29th, moving 27 to 29 to align odd-even sequencing. The proposal is not yet public when the Whitcomb's card arrives. Red herrings multiply. A neighbor in Maple Grove confesses to a Ring camera, but the angle doesn't match. A prankster claims credit on Reddit, only to retract when asked for proofs. Someone suggests the same sky effect is a tell that these are manipulated, but a local photographer points out that modern services use stock skies too. What matters are the telltale seams around rooflines, and these seams are nearly invisible. Professional-grade masking that evokes the old Dexter press techniques with modern precision. Back then, artists cut masks by hand to lay stock clouds behind telephone poles, the journalist notes in her piece, because no one would compare cards side by side. Today, someone expects us to compare. By late May, a 5th postcard surfaces in Portland, Maine, showing a 2-family with a new accessibility ramp and a placard for a city hearing that hasn't happened yet. The family shrugs it off until the hearing notice posts online 2 weeks later, word for word identical to the placard in their card. The perfect sky stares down like a witness who refuses to testify. If a stranger mailed a warning that saved a family from an electrical fire, would that stranger have consent to see through the walls? When do safety and surveillance swap masks? The Alvarez attic is safe now, but Luz starts checking every vent, every outlet, until the house feels less like shelter and more like a test she can fail. The reveal doesn't arrive in a thunderclap. It prints quietly with crop marks. The journalist convinces a print vendor in West Nyack to talk off-record about a boutique service quietly marketed to municipal pilot programs and logistics firms that can generate hyper-local mailers using near real-time imaging, then post-date the visuals based on approved, not yet public schedules. Tree removal calendars, parcel renumbering drafts, pilot product rollouts. It's the civic version of those old futurist postcards. Paint the sky, then paint the rest. But with a twist. These cards were never supposed to go to private residents. They were QA artifacts, test prints to audit visual pipelines against schedule metadata. A sorting flag failed. The system mailed the tests. It explains the dates. It explains the perfect skies. It explains the subtle tells. The yard sign that didn't exist yet but would. The placard text matching a draft template. What it doesn't explain is the attic note to check the vent, Tuesday. The vendor insists no messages were embedded. The Alvarez card's reverse was blank, but for that typed line. Who typed it? Luce keeps the card in a Ziploc as if it might still be shedding answers. The immediate aftermath is messy. The city arborist apologizes for the shock. The school levy committee denies any involvement. The Massachusetts Select Board fast-tracks a policy clarifying that pre-decisional drafts are not to be used in any public-facing materials, even QA. A courier firm issues a breezy statement about innovative visualization workflows, which reads like a confession to anyone who's been sleeping with the lights on. And West Nyack, once home to one of the largest postcard printers in the Chrome era, is back in the story, a reminder that for a century, people have been compositing nicer skies over the messy edges of reality. We want the picture to look right. We want the sky to behave. But one detail refuses to fall into line. A week after the story breaks, Marcus receives a second card. Same angle, same porch. But now the package locker is covered in flyers. Block party, July 20, lost tabby, and a small handwritten note taped to the glass. The future isn't surveillance if we send it to ourselves. He stares. He flips the card. Blank. He takes it to the journalist, who squints at the flyer edges. The block party flyer uses a city events template that hasn't been published. The lost tabby phone number belongs to Emma and Raj's neighbor 2 states away. The note is the only part that looks truly human. Bad kerning, a bit of ink drag at the curve of the F Emma, and Raj receive a third. Their stump is ground, just as in real life. But the dirt circle in the postcard is filled with milkweed seedlings and a monarch perched mid-wing. On the back, nothing. They plant milkweed the next day anyway. When monarchs arrive in August, they laugh, cry, and decide not to report that one to anyone. Not every mystery demands a memo. In the months that follow, the printer shutters the pilot, and the municipalities update procurement language to define visualization leakage, a phrase that sounds like a plumbing problem, but really means the future escaped the lab and landed in a mailbox. The Alvarez family installs smoke sensors in the attic, and for a while, Luce can only sleep with the hallway light on. Then gradually she returns to leaving her windows, cracked at night, a truce with the air. The Whitcombs' renumbering passes, and their new 29 makes the old 27 feel like a memory of themselves from another timeline. Marcus writes a paper about prefigurative media, images that arrive before the facts, and his advisor warns him not to use the word prophecy. He uses it anyway. The moral question won't sit still. If a technology can model next month so precisely that it can print the flyer on a pole that hasn't been hammered in yet, does that tool belong to agencies, firms, or to the neighborhoods themselves? The old futurist postcards made us laugh at whale buses. The old chrome printers made us accept the same perfect sky. This new breed asks us to decide whose sky is allowed over our street and when we're permitted to look up.
Don't forget to subscribe to Real Mystery Reports for more strange, dark, and profoundly human stories. New true mysteries every day.